So if you're not sure of who Grapplefest actually are and what they do, here is a quick highlight video from the last one, Grapplefest 11. So this is what you can look forward to in the next one, which is Grapplefest 12, coming up on May the 21st. Enjoy! Hello, my name is Adam for Taps and Chats, writing for Combat Sports UK, and we have been very fortunate today to be welcomed and joined by Mr. Chris Thompson. I think the promoter of Grapplefest.
Yeah, promoter, co-owner. There's me and my good mate Darren Morris, who's also the coach. We own it 50-50 between us. So yeah, we're you're on to me today.
So how are you keeping yourself, mate? I mean, I know we are flying through this year. We've already had one Grapplefest only a couple of months ago. We're now on to the 12th one, I think.
12, number 12.
Is it all going the way you had planned, or has it just gone bloop?
It's definitely gone that way. I mean, when we first started it was really, we were a little bit disillusioned with sort of some of the grappling scenes. There's some great comps around. I'm not in any way slagging anybody off, but it was all sort of IBJJF comps with the rules and tournaments and formats, and it was all sort of this. And there was the odd show here and there. There was, a couple of things, but we at ASW, my team, we've always been, we don't really grapple like that. It's more just, grappling to submission and trying to win, and and rather than playing a points game, and a lot of grappling for MMA, we've done things like that. And really, we wanted to showcase that style, and I knew there's a lot of people who are interested in stuff. And initially, the first ever show, it was just purely and utterly UK guys. We put it on just to put the feelers out there. I remember matching the card, and I did it in about 48 hours. People were just like, I literally could have done 100 matches. People were crying out to be on it. And we went, okay, let's do this and let's make a good show of it. Let's make it pretty professional. Let's do the best we can. And we just had a go at it really the first time, see how it went, and it absolutely smashed it. And then that was when me and Darren sat down, decided and said, listen, we can make this a proper thing. So I think the second one, that's when I trained with Craig Jones quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I sort of basically approached him and said, listen, mate, would you be interested if we can do a match for us? We can't pay loads, we're just starting off, blah, blah, blah. But he was a good guy, and I looked after him when he came over to the UK. Came and stayed with me and stuff. And I went over, I trained with him over in Thailand and things like that, so I knew him quite well. And he was really cool about it and just went, yeah, get me a match and I'll do it. And then he sort of said, one guy I've been keeping my eye on it, he was, trying to get a match with it at the time, with him, Matej Deniz. He's now an ADCC champion. I think he was a gi, no gi champion as well in the IBJF. And Matej was absolutely fantastic, and just went, yeah, I'm up for it. And that was it, really. That was it. We put us on the sort of the world scene, because that was like a match everyone wanted to see. And it just sort of snowballed from there. I think each show's got bigger and better, and we've had more and more people, and the crowds have grown, the subscriptions have grown. The people who watch us, the whole thing. It's just snowballed. So. This was the plan, is what we sort of wanted, but to say it's exceeding the expectations, I've got to say that as well. Yeah, it's sometimes I have to pinch myself. Like we were saying before, I'm talking to all these guys from all over the world, and I'm still a massive fan myself. Yeah. You've got to look at it. I'm still first and foremost a big fan of all these guys, and you're speaking away to Michael Messamecki and the top guys in the world, all the Pedigo guys are hot as at the moment, and just basically nearly there's not been anyone who we haven't dealt with who's been a dickhead, so to speak. Everyone's been great.
They're always the nicest people. I mean, it's interesting when you talk to you talk to the general public who don't really know much about the sport or whatever, and then you talk to the people that actually do the fighting. MMA guys exactly the same. Most MMA guys are supposed to. You get the odd one. He's a bit of a nutter, but whatever. But 99% of people are like just the nicest people. And I don't know. It's almost like we've gone back a little bit. Where people go, "Oh, he's got tattoos up his neck, but he's a nice person." You're like, of course he's a nice person. Like, why wouldn't he? And it's because they fight for a living. People have assumed that they're like, I don't know, always angry or something. I don't know. But the guys that we speak to are so cool. I mean, you started off with Craig Jones. I mean, you started off pretty strong. And, it's not a bad start, is it? And then obviously you got Mike and Mr. Mench, who's like, at the moment, I mean, just smashing it. Who have you got lined up on this next card that you're sort of excited to see?
Oh God, it's absolutely stacked, this card. I actually think talent-wise is one of the best ones we've put on. There's Dante v Andy Rell at the top of the card.
Yes.
We've got Jacob Couch v Tom Breeze. We've got God, who else I'm trying to think of it now off the top of my head? But John Hathaway, Jack Grant. We've got.
That'll be an interesting one. Jack Grant's a nice guy, yeah.
Cork of that. I think the fact he had a few. I think it was a stomach issue he had or something like that. I mean. If anyone's been around watching stuff, he was in the UFC, he's got to be getting on for 10 years ago, and he was absolutely smashing it. and I think it was a stomach complaint. I think he had something like that, and basically put him out for quite a while. Made a bit of a comeback, but I think he's got on top of it, whatever. I don't know if it's medication. I've not had a proper chat with him about it, but I know he's fit. We approached him and got him on, and he's up against Jack Grant, who's, you know, fantastic grappler, Bellator guy as well. And I think that one could be a little bit of a secret barn burner. Do you know what I mean? It could be an absolute killer, that match.
Well, one of my the guy who I train with, Alexi Roberts, he fought Jack Grant here on a Bama show. Alexi eventually won, but he packs a punch, and I remember watching it, and Jack's hands were like low, and I'm like, what's he doing? I thought he'd been cocky. That's what. But it turns out,
no, it's his style, yeah.
And afterwards, Alexi said no, he spoke to him, and Jack was going, "Oh, I was knackered. I couldn't. I was absolutely just could not do anymore."
I can remember that fight actually. I remember watching that. Yeah.
Yeah, Alexi's a great big massive dreadlocks. He's my my training partner.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it's great. It's great when you kick him in the head and he goes, "Oh, nice one." Not even wobble, like what? But no, it's good. So you got the card. I mean, there were 37?
No, 30 matches. We always do about 30 matches.
I mean,
yeah. And I normally match about 32, and we normally end up with about 28. But this time so far, we're still on 30 matches. So, or was it 31? Might be 31, but no one's dropped out yet. We've had a couple of dropouts, but I've managed to match up the guys, nothing major. So you tend to find a lot of the top guys stay fit. Oh yeah, I think they look after themselves, know how to train. But injuries are part of the game. I think we know everyone understands that. But it's so far, fingers crossed, everyone's okay.
Yeah, man. Well, the last Grapplefest 11 was against. The whole setup was the Daisy. Basically USA versus UK, essentially.
Yeah.
It is.
We marketed it like that, yeah. But it was, they did bring. They brought, I think, 12 guys over, so on the card, yeah. So from the Pedigo team, so we've got a few this time. There's Jacob Couch, there's Dante Leon, there's Michael Pixley, there's a couple of purple belts. They're bringing over Nation Gibrick and Tag Cravens, and then I'm sure there's someone else. I think I'm forgetting someone now. Get mixed up, does that matter even? But they're bringing 4 or 5 guys over anyway.
So you're going to be doing more of that kind of thing moving forward, like things like country versus country type scenario.
I've got something massive lined up for November for it, which I can't actually say yet because it's not signed and sealed. But I'll give you.
Okay.
I'll give you a little exclusive on it when it's actually done. But it's 90% done because normally we do a show in sort of August, September time, but because this year's ADCC, which falls bang in the middle of September, we're going a little bit later. We're doing October the 1st, and then we always do a show in November at the end, so we're doing the one on the last weekend in November. So Grapplefest 13 and 14 will actually be quite close together. They're normally every 3 months apart, but they're going to be about 7-8 weeks, something like that. So a little bit less than 2 months, but it's simply because of the ADCC, because if you whack it in the middle of the ADCC, the top guys in the world are all on that. They're all trading for it. If you did a show a month before, they wouldn't want to get injured. They wouldn't want to risk that. And I get it. I completely get it. Yeah. A couple of weeks afterwards, but I think we'll be fine. That one's pretty much sort of set up. And then I've got, like you said, a bit of a team. It's hard to say team and country without giving too much away, but you'll like it. You'll like it.
Can't wait. I mean, so the rule set, for those that don't know, would you say do you use the ADCC rule set, or do you kind of have your own hybrid rule set that's kind of a bit like IBJJF, but kind of a little bit like ADCC, or have you just got to scrap that? I'm going to do it the way I want it to be.
Yeah, scrap that is the way we're going to do it. It literally is all submissions allowed. Every match, everyone is the same. Everyone is 10 minutes, apart from the title fights, which are 15 minutes. So it's all submissions, neck cranks, heel hooks, twisters, everything's in there. There's no points whatsoever. If it goes a full distance, there's 3 black belt judges that we have. And it's basically the first criteria you win on is genuine submission attempts, i.e. in a fully locked in triangle, fully locked in armbar. They have to stop and defend it. Not just throwing your legs up over the head and, Hail Mary and you get your guard past. It's got to be locked in, bend, pulling on the head, and the guy somehow manages to escape it. If nobody gets a submission attempt, or say it's equal as 2 each, something like that, the second level criteria then goes down to who with positional dominance, i.e. guard passing, mount, back, things like that, sweeps, things like that. So it's worked out that way. We did it to encourage people to attack and go, listen, Doesn't matter if you get swept, if you're in the middle of it, if you still get your submission attempt off, you're not going to lose any points. So I think in the IBJJF, I've had it happen to myself. I remember passing a guy's guard, instead of just popping side control, went straight for the spinning arm lock, he came up on top. The match sort of ended and the referee gave him an advantage for coming up to the top, and I was like, what? Do you know what I mean? So I remember things like that happening. I just thought, I don't want this to happen. I want to encourage people to go for it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's worked so far. When we first started off, we had a few guys, mainly sort of Brazilians and stuff, online, giving us a bit of stick, going, how did somebody win that? He had his guard passed 3 times and things like, but now we're established and people know it and understand it. Everyone gets the rule set, so it's you get listen, you can't please everyone. We always get the old complaint here and there, but by none of the competitors ever complain. The only people who ever complain seem to be the mates of the person who's lost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the IBJJF rule set is brilliant if you are doing it as a, you're not doing this as a full-time career. You're paying to go to a competition, because at the end of the day, no one wants to be heel hooked and can't walk for 6 weeks or 6 months. I mean, sometimes you don't walk, your knees get operated on. So I love heel hooks because they're disgusting. But that's kind of the point. If you're paying 40, 50 quid to go to a comp, and you've got work on Monday, I can see why you wouldn't want that in the rule set necessarily in case anything goes wrong. But from a watching point of view, I mean, the rule set that you have is what makes it so exciting. Is that it literally, what you say is almost, well, not literally, but almost literally, as anything sort of goes. You know what I mean? In terms of legal submissions, of course, we're not on this all kind of crap. But that's what makes it so good.
No fish hooks, nothing in the nose, nothing in the eyes. And slams a weird one. We're not like the IBJF where you just get disqualified for anything. And you basically can lift up and slam out submissions and things like that. What I sort of say is, listen, if you lift someone up over the waist and you try and power bomb them down, or spike them,
your feet come off the floor. Yeah.
If you try and rampage power bomb someone and knock them out, then you're going to get DQ. You're going to get and I explain it clearly in the rules meeting. If you're lifting up and slamming out the sub and the guy doesn't let go, then we're not going to pull you for it. That's fine. But if you actively try and smash them to the floor, then you will get. We've never had it. It's never happened. It's we've never had anyone do that. And the refs are good. They're on it. We don't want anyone to see DQ'd. Really, we really don't want to. So we sort of say it's for safety, really. I mean, no one sees someone get knocked out just in a grappling match.
No, exactly.
There's no skill involved in that, really, is there? But I think guys learn to let go as well, because they're not desperate to hang on. They'll get picked up. A lot of guys just let go these days. So yeah. Well,
I mean, I like your rule set in terms of what you say. I mean, just because someone's more dominant in the position doesn't mean necessarily winning. Which is always, when I've done comps before, people take them out. They're sat on you for however long because they've got a couple of points. And you're sitting there going, look, I can't bench you off because I'm in an open weight and you're 120 kilos. I'm like 70. I can't bench you off. And then you're you can't get out because they're just sat, and you go, what is going on? Like, come on. This rules that you've got is encouraging people to just, if you try and submit more often, then that is what will win you the match.
And that was what we wanted, And we had that guys sitting mount for 5 or 6 minutes and then get heel upped in the last 20 seconds. We've seen it's actually happened. It has happened. Yeah. And the guys like that, and he's, because the other guy's patient, got defended, did everything. But the other people have got to go for subs, and it's, even if you get someone's back, if you don't try and actually finish them and rear naked choke them, or switch to arm lock or whatever you want to do, if you just sit there in a body triangle and chill, then you need to be actively trying to finish the fight.
100%. Well, the Craig Jones' little mate obviously has absolutely helped Gordon Ryan take this sort of no-gi grappling from where it is now. I mean, a couple of years ago, it was popular, but it wasn't like where it. It's really helped push.
Last 5 years, gone crazy. Yeah. The ADCC 2017, I think, was a big changing point for people when they started to realise the leg locks were coming through. The EBIs before that were fantastic as well. When you seen the likes of the Dana Descar coming through, I was a huge fan of Eddie Cummins and Gary Tone and people like that. And then Gordon started to come through when he was a young kid. And I think ADCC 2017 was a big turning point. People like, wow, this, and these are staunch gi guys who I know now who actually, because it used to be, and I used to hear the argument, the same gi guys win the ADCC, but it's just the same people in the same competitions all doing the same thing. And now this new breed of grapplers come in, and it's like, oh, hang on, these guys are actually pretty good, and they play a different game. And I think that was a big turning point. I think everything sort of changed from there, and then the scene exploded, like you say. The last 5 years has been crazy.
Yeah, well, the gi versus no gi is always the biggest argument there. Which one's better? I mean, you sort of go, well, they're both unbelievably difficult for literally the same polar opposite reasons. So the gi is really difficult because you get caught and you've got a good grip. Really hard to break the grips. No gi is really difficult because you can't bloody grip. You go, slip out. Fuck. You got I've got to use actual technique because I can't actually do. It's so hard. I think people. I love that. I'm sure you've heard it a million times. People go, "Oh, it's just two blokes on the floor cuddling," and you're like, it's more than that.
I think it's got better. Sort of over the years, like you said, I think Conor McGregor. No matter what you think of him, did put a lot of eyes on the sport and people, and even your general lads who are 18 to 30, something like that. You actually know what a triangle and an armbar and things like that are now, rear naked choke. Whereas years ago, you used to be like, stand them up, they didn't have a clue and they just wanted to see this. You all want to see a shit kickboxing fight in 4-ounce gloves, didn't you, in MMA? Yeah. Now people actually realise what an armbar is and stuff like that. So, I think he put a lot of eyes on the sport. You've got some great people coming through now. Paddy's Pimlet's making a lot of noise. Molly's out there. Tom Aspinall's, are amazing. They're getting up there. So I think we're getting more and more people getting eyes on it, and then people get more interested. What is this groundwork aspect? And then you get your normal people, like you say. Let's face it, 90% of every gym, probably 95% of every gym, is just a load of hobbyists.
Yeah.
Who come to class. They want to train, they want to learn this stuff, they see the things, they get hooked by it, they get into it and they do it. There's only sort of 5%, if that, in the gym who are actually trying to make a living out of it, who are serious competitors. And most serious competitors, let's face it, have got a 9-to-5 job. There's only a few who would start teaching privates or they open up the jobs. There's getting a few more, which is great to see. Hardly anyone's making a complete living out of competing because the money just isn't in the sport yet. So 95% of people in your gym are hobbyists. It's like, I teach every single morning. I've just taught now. And I've had a few of the guys say to me, and say stuff, obviously in the way they're training the DDS and Atos, and they're doing these rounds, and they're doing all this competition round, they're doing all this stuff. And I start laughing. I said, tell you what, I'll put those classes on, I'll make it like that. And in 2 weeks, instead of having 25 people on the mat every morning, I'll have 4 of you. Yep. Because none of you want to train like that. Yeah. And you'll all be injured.
100%. Do you want somewhere to train? Yeah. Okay, then we need them guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know. Yes, we're doing scissor sweeps today. It's boring, but you know what? They need to learn it. Just get on with it. It must be hard to try and. It's always tricky to kind of go right. The people that are trying to take it really seriously, it's always hard to kind of go right. So you guys are doing, I don't know, armbar, right? This is how you do an armbar, and then you've got the other 4 people in the corner. And you're like, right, okay, so you guys know that, and you've got to try and.
Build it up. Yeah, I'm lucky. My class I teach these days are mainly advanced classes, so it's sort of, it is good. But we do have beginners come into them, but not like pure beginners who are in there. So I'm lucky in that aspect. I can sort of teach 101. But yeah, the fundamentals class and stuff like that. People have got to learn that, because if you don't, you can't pick it up. So you do have to spend, even if it's 3 to 6 months or whatever, learning these utter basics and stuff, because you need to learn to know you move your body. There's a joke about white belt spars and stuff like that, but you are, and we all were. Listen, I've been training 16, 17 years, whatever now, but the day, when I first started, I was no different from anyone else. I was just exactly the same. I didn't know how to move. I used to think going aggressive and hard would be the way forward. I played a lot of rugby and stuff, so I was physical, and I thought, this is what I'll do. I'll just grab hold of them and and you just get. We've all got the story of getting schooled by the 60-kilo purple belt, haven't we, when we first started, and just being like, wow, what's this? Yeah. So people learning, people coming. It's great that sport's in the best sort of shape it's ever been in. There's more people than ever training. There's loads of girls in the sport now, which is amazing. From the competitors coming through, it's fantastic. It's so we've got to be happy the way things are going. The sport's growing. It's just we could do getting some real big cash behind it and sort of making it a proper pro sport. So because it is still such a niche sport, but MMA was, when I first started back in the day, MMA was just a niche sport back in the day, and no one really watched it. It was underground and trying to get tapes of Pride and UFC and stuff like that. Now it's huge, so hopefully the way things like the ADCC this year will be huge. Mo Jasmine's done an absolutely outstanding job on that. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable at that show. I just know it will be. And hopefully they'll start getting eyes on the sport, you know, and they're getting real investors who'll come in from outs, because at the moment it's just mainly apparel companies, isn't it, that sponsor things, you know, people are involved in it. If we can get some, you know, if you look at other sports, they have, you know, look at football and stuff like that. I know that's a hard one to take. It's one of the biggest sports in the world, but nearly all their sponsors are nothing to do with football, are they? You know, yeah, the kit sponsors and stuff like that, but, you know, you look on most clubs, they're sponsored by, you know, just big businesses, aren't they? So this is what we need. We need the investment so we can get some full-time guys out there.
So if you could have any person, any grappler from any time period, who would you have on your show?
I reckon we've had them. I reckon you know all the best. I think we've pretty much had everyone. You know, let's say
the best. That is the most. That's the best. I see what you did there. Brilliant.
There's no one. There's no one that I haven't been in. I mean, Roger would be a great example, but obviously we just sort of missed out on him time-wise, you know what I mean? But there was Gordon. I did have Gordon lined up. I had Gordon. Gordon was supposed to be on the show. And then COVID hit in the March and we had him lined up, had him signed for the May. Now he's sort of one of those, you know, I don't really think you'll see him compete much outside of America and the ADCC, you know, and so I've spoken to him a few times. Nice guy when you speak to him again, you know, like you say, I think his internet persona and his persona are sort of, you know, a bit different. But he'd be a guy I would like to get on at some point, but pretty much all the rest of them, we've pretty much had everyone. I couldn't ask for a nicer set of people with you, and then, you know, and a set of competitors. It's been amazing. So it's and everyone I speak to, like it's mad. Like you said, you know, the people are just so nice when you're speaking to them. So they're great.
So what's your plan? Say, when was Grapplefest 1?
It was June 2018. But we set Grapplefest up in 2017, and then we basically spent about 6, 7, 8 months planning it all, getting it right, getting everything done, getting the company set up, this sort of business. So the first show was then. And like you say, if it hadn't been for COVID, we'd probably be on 15, 16 by now or something like that. Rob does a lot. We did do one we did a one closed door show, but I'll be honest with you, the fights were great. The fights were superb. It was so much hassle and we had no crowd or nothing, and I was like, I hated it really simply because nothing to do with the competitors, the fights and the broadcast. It looked fantastic when we saw it on then. It was great, but I just hated it. You know, it just wasn't Grapplefest. You know what I mean? So we decided not to do it.
You've put on 12 shows in what is essentially 3 years.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because
which is already amazing. So where of 12 in 3 years? I thought it was going to be a bit longer. That is amazing. So, okay, let's say in 5 years' time, where do you want to be? Where is the perfect place for you to be in 5 years' time?
Well, the plan is 4 shows a year. We could maybe squeeze 5 in. Basically, just keep growing it and growing it and growing it. If you look at the main card, you know, as we started off with maybe one top fight, and then, you know, so a couple of European guys and the rest of the filled it up with the English guys. Now it's becoming more and more big international card. What we started for as well, we wanted the UK guys. It's a UK show, and I wanted those guys to be fighting the superstars. It's happening this time. The first sort of time we've got someone, you know, Owen O'Flanagan's fighting John Blom for the under 90 kilo title. Owen was, I think he was a brown belt actually when we first ever started. He was on Grapplefest 1. And now he's fighting. He's qualified for the ADCC Worlds in September. Now he's fighting.
He's flying. Yeah,
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've got to give a shout out there to Ash Williams. I mentioned something about this earlier, the other week when I made a post. He was the first British guy to fight for our title when he fought Cade Rutulo. But he was already pretty much an established grappler by the time we sort of set up. So the plan is, what I want is the guys who we have on. I'm never going to change the undercard. I'm always going to give shots to the top blue belts, purples and browns on the undercard. That I'm going to keep that the same. That's a Grapplefest format. These guys get to fight in the show, like you say, with the likes of Messi's and Ronaldo's on the main card, and they all just say this is unbelievable. I want those guys in 4 or 5 times to be on the main card as black belts fighting, you know, American, Brazilian, Australian, the best of the world. That's what I want it to be. I'd love it to essentially be the UK against the best in Europe and the rest of the world. You know what I mean? That's the goal. It's getting that way, and you know that's what I want. So,
maybe it'd be amazing if you could be the first. Well, as far as I'm aware, anyway, the first grapple promoter that does the equivalent of a World Cup. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. What? I mean, amazing, wouldn't it? I mean,
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah,
Keep pushing
amazing.
it like that and keep going. So,
well, come on.
Yeah,
So
well
for those
fantastic.
that can't get tickets, how can we watch this show from the comfort of our own homes?
We're on Fight TV, which is pretty much a pretty global platform now. They do all sorts. They do grappling, they do boxing, they do MMA, they do even do like wrestling, WWF style sort of wrestling, stuff like that. It's really, really cool guys. We were with Flow up until the end of last year, but we moved on to Fight. They gave us a really good deal, and the service is really good. The first show we did was a Daisy Fresh one last time, and the stream quality was fantastic as well, because I've always known our stream quality is really good, and some people have moaned, and I said, well, we don't compress it when it gets sent to someone else, and when they stream it, it can be an issue. But because I do the commentary on the show as well, I'm watching the monitor live, and I know our stream is perfect, and I know that the broadband width we use and everything's really good. So when we streamed it through Fight, it was fantastic as well. And what they do is they do some great deals, because basically it's $50 for the year, and then that means you get Grapplefest. You can just pay $50, or you can pay I think it's $5 a month or something, or $6 a month, something like that. So it's a little bit more expensive, but you pay a monthly charge. Or you can buy each show. I think it's $15, which works out about 11 quid or something as a pay-per-view, as a one-off pay-per-view if you want to do that. By far and away, the best one is to pay $50 for the year, because we're going to do 4 or 5 shows a year, and it's a no-brainer. I even signed up for that for myself. So I've even got that one myself. Yeah, so that's the best way. But and it gives you 3 different options, and you can sort of watch it all on there if you can't get down to watch it live.
Yeah, perfect. So we've what's that? 40 quid, 40 quid for a year. What's that? £3.50 or something a month? I don't know.
Crazy, mate. It's crazy.
Good.
It's less than a quid a week, isn't it?
Yeah, happy days. And also, if you get all the other stuff with it as well, like not only just
you get a full back catalogue.
And
so you'll be able to watch any Grapplefest. So in a couple of years' time, there'll be 8-10 Grapplefests.
Oh, so you can go back and watch others.
You can go watch the whole back catalogue, mate. You can watch anything on there. So it's a no-brainer, that one, for me.
Well, fantastic. I wish you the best of luck with everything, Chris. Always good to chat and catch up with you guys. We did a small interview with some of the competitors like we did last time as well. And just keep smashing it. And I'll be looking forward to coming up and hopefully meeting up with you guys in the flesh sometime. That'd be cool.
Anytime you want, mate, you know the score. Just give me a shout, and your tickets on the door for you, mate. You know that.
Go get your tickets. If you're watching this, get it directly for the website or go to Fight TV. Get yourself a subscription. It's less than a cup of coffee. It's definitely worth it. And that's coming on May the
21st.
21st. Sorry, mate. I should have known that. I forgot. Yeah, May 21st. So get your subscriptions now or tickets. Chris, for now, mate, all the best, and I'll catch up with you and the whole team real soon.
Thanks so much, mate. Thank you much. Cheers, Adam. Thanks, mate.
Right.
Bye.
Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.